no big storylines happened within the past week. The only reported storyline is that Connor Stanton and Sean McDowell are in question if they are eligible to run for the second annual Dentsville 250. Stanton is questioned because of severe dizziness, while McDowell is questioned for a bruised ankle and headaches that would happen often. Both injuries occurred from the lap 3 crash in the Affleck Thunder shootout. All of the drivers involved in that crash were okay. When it comes now for the races, Sean McDowell ended up winning the first duel after holding off charges from Corey Von Dugga to finish that one off. Von Dugga was the highest of the cars that qualified his race in. The second duel was won by Keith Hales in the number 27 after making a pass late and had a drag race with Jared Webler. Webler was also trying to race his way in and did a pretty good job with that. Now for the actual season opening events that happened with Ryan Cobain. He ended up winning the Truck Series event after making a pass with a few laps to go. And then Matthew Hartford ended up winning the Gatorade Series event after pretty much starting last and leading the most laps. That feat happened in the Thunder Shoot. That similar feat happened in the Thunder Shootout and also in the inaugural Dentsville 250. And now, time to hand it off to Kendall Johnson for the race. Thanks, Jerry. And now for the race, the Affleck pole where goes to the number 29 is Stephen Volk. Stephen Volk will lead the field down to the green flag with Brian Dawson in the 64 Charter Communications Dodge on his outside, and right behind him is the number 8 of Walter Uthen, and then on Uthen's outside is the number 14 of Luke Warren. As they're going to head out of turn number 2, so far Shane Bliss has a strong car. He looks like to go to the inside. Walter stays in the middle while Stephen Volk gets the inside line as they head down the tri-oval. Now they're going to head down the back straightaway, and they're going to enter turn 3, and looks like car number 42 has a great run. So it looks like the 42 of Shane Bliss is going to try to take the lead away from the number 29 of Stephen Volk. As here they come, it looks like the leader of the first lap will be Shane Bliss in the 42. Bliss did not have a great 2011 season. Although he won at Peoria, but that was the only good note that happened all year. He didn't win it all afterwards. A driver that's actually who had a good 2011 season is Scott Johnson in the 58 on his inside. Johnson is going to take the lead away from the 42 as he has Greg Woodard on his outside. But here comes Chandler Blake at the 15. So Chandler Blake at the 15, who just missed the top 10 in points. And here comes Mike Hogan here, defending Rookie of the Year. And now he's going to get pushed out by Jake Curlin. Looks like Hogan, I believe, led that lap. He barely edged over by Chandler Blake. And here was the first incident. This happened on lap number 3. Chandler Blake bounces off the wall. This would be common for everybody. However, this spread the pack out a little bit, although some type of incidents would end up causing cautions, and the first one will be a factor, as we're just going to wait for this to run out. The first caution, here we're focusing on Max Himlin. The 11 of James Wilson Jr. gets in the wall. The 76 of Jake Killen gets turned by Kyrie Uthen, and the 28 spins. Uthen and Shane Bliss have crashed into the wall, while Scott Johnson's also crashed. Here is another angle. There you see the 11 gets into the wall, the 76 gets into the 28, and then the 57 comes back up the racetrack, gets the 42 and 58. Car number 58 was done for the day. That's Scott Johnson. He is done for the day. It's a tough break for the 58. On the restart, Ike Chase Jr. is your race leader with David Payton in second, Luke Warren in third, Cameron Brooks in fourth, and Daniel Salmon in fifth. So far, Ike Chase Jr. season most of his career has not been great. However, so far he is running. However, the team reverted back to Pontiacs or Toyotas to whatever their fourth manufacturer was. They ran Dodges due to the realignment, and they were too late to. Ended up accidentally selecting Dodge, so they had to run Dodge for the entire year. But then this year they were going to switch to Toyota. However, Toyota pulled out of the series, and that left them no choice but to switch to Pontiacs. Luke Warren Chin Racing was also in the same situation. However, Chin Racing had already originated doing the switch to Pontiac. Meanwhile, you see Daniel Salmon, David Payton in the 24 is in the wall. Meanwhile, Daniel Salmon's going to get to the lead while Greg Woodard's going to get to the lead. There's Shane Clark III, your defending champion. He is along for the ride in the number 98 a Lumber Liquidators Ford Fusion. Going to get pushed by the 50 of Blake Tagliana, and you see the 03 of Shane Howard and the 29 of Stephen Volk. So this race, and they're going to go 4 wide for the lead. Blake Tagliana, the 50, will get to the lead, and then I thought they were going to go 5 wide for a sec, but here comes the 03 of Shane Howard. As they're gonna, it looks like the 03 of Howard will lead. No, Blake Tagliana would lead this lap. Second caution would come out on lap 14 as you see John Kaznier spins down the backstretch, gets to the 09, gets the 29 of Stephen Volk. He would have continued on going, but somehow a fire breaks out under the 85 of John Kaznier. So tough break. He just qualified for the 2nd straight year, and just like last year, he crashed out early in this one. Here is from, I believe this is Stephen Volk's perspective. He tries to go up and has nowhere to go, and he hit the 85 pretty hard. The 09 and I believe somebody else got collected. I can't tell who that was. But meanwhile, back to the restart. Car number 53 of Brian Kittleson was your race leader, with the 8 of Walter Youthen in second. The 2 of Ryan Pearson was in second. Was actually third. Excuse me, right there. 48 MJ Holloway was in fourth. Mike Hogan was fifth, or was it the other way around? But Brian Pearson, the 2, will take the race lead away from the 53 easily. Ryan Pearson could actually win this race after starting last, because he started last in this event, and that's basically been the trend, as the last place starter ends up winning the race, which we saw that in the Gatorade Series event, and we also saw that in the Thunder Shootout, where Tim Averill had to start last because of the rookie shootout wildcard entry, and he ended up winning that one. Here's Sean McDowell. Remember in the pre-race, he said that he was racing on a bruised ankle after the Thunder Shootout crash, which he's also been getting the headaches have actually gone away on McDowell. But meanwhile, Corey Von Delga is going to go to the lead. As you see, there's Danielle Salmon right there, and Eddie John, the 55. Looks like they're going to get down to turn 2 and run this one fairly good. Oh, crash behind them! So a wreck behind them, as this was like 2 laps after the race. Our heroes from his perspective, Thomas Lawyers and Mike Hogan, they get up into the wall, and then Ike Jace Jr. just no apparent reason turns the 48 around. Brian Wilson, I think that's Cameron Brooks. Shane Howard were also collected, and then here is from Marcus Ted Bosier's perspective. He wasn't lucky. He was actually lucky. He actually made through the first part. Oh, Howard just ran into the back of everybody. Ted Bosier cleared everybody, but Jake Cullen just sideswipes him, and the 67 hits hard. And so Tad Bosier, making his first career start, is not getting the best reputation out of that, and his luck gets even worse as coming to pit road, well, he runs out of gas. Car 67, ironically, however, there's actually some good news in this. He would only fall 1 lap down, and that's some really good pit strat. That team probably has a really good pit crew, because normally in this situation you would fall about 2 laps down, and apparently they sped it up to only 1, so that's a really good job. Car 14, Luke Warren was your race leader. Chandler Blake in second, Shane Harden in third, Matt Kimlin in fourth, and James Wilson Jr. in fifth. Hamlin's recovered of that lap 4 crash, but it looks like the damage wasn't significant on that 28. And Luke Warren gets a really good restart over the 15 of Chandler Blake, as looks like Blake will try to hope that he can get some draft health to get his way into the lead. There's the 28 of Hamlin, and then there is James Wilson Jr., and I believe that's Keith Hales trying to come up to the mix. Right there, we'll have to see about that. Yeah, no, scratch that. That was actually Brian Dawson, excuse me. Just have a little brain fade going on right now. But meanwhile, you see they're starting to bunch up towards the back, even though Chandler Blake is just aiming for the back bumper of that 14 car of Luke Warren. Here's Michael Scott. Michael Scott getting a good run. Scott finished just inside the top 10 last year, placing 10th after what would have been an up and down season for the 12 car. And here comes Scott. He's gonna get second, but can he get the lead if he had the run? If he had a run, looks like car 12 gets a good run, and he may end up taking the lead. So going out of turn 4, looks like car number 12 will take the lead. And, well, not yet, because he didn't lead that lap yet. And car number 12 of Luke Warren Michael Scott, excuse me, will get to the lead with Carson Brooks in second, Keith Hales in third, and Daniel Salmon in fourth. As this is finally gonna have a battle for the lead. There's Carson Brooks, Keith Hales, Daniel Salomon, Shane Harden, and Jared Lancel are also in this inside train. While Michael Scott and Luke Warren, they're gonna be ditched to the outside along with Gordon Billard. As here comes the 75 of Carson Brooks is in the lead. Daniel Salamon's in second. The 59 of Shane Harden is in third. As we're gonna go for the battle for the lead. Here comes, they're gonna go 3 wide for the lead. However, our next caution would be a 5 wide result, and Michael Scott, Eddie Johns, Luke Warren, Blake Tagliana all spin down in the middle of the backstretch section. Here is another angle. Listen from Gordon Billard's perspective. Looks like the 27 gets up the racetrack, gets into the 12, and all that happens. And then here's from a helicopter's perspective. Looks like Lancel pushed into the 27, which pushed into the 12, and that's what pretty much started it. Daniel Salomon got a piece of that. Shane Harden also got a piece of that as well. Luke Warren, Chandler Blake were the 4 involved. Car 12 would get the most damage, unfortunately. It's a tough break for Michael Scott. Jared Lancel, who caused the last caution, was on the leader of the restart with Brian Dawson second, Damon Scott third, Keith Hales in fourth, and David Payton now jumps to fourth. As meanwhile, Brian Dawson will go for the race lead. Mark Mongillo fell 2 laps down. However, he was actually a wild card factor in pretty much holding up people out of the way for the lead. Meanwhile, you see Brian Dawson, he actually successfully took the lead away from the 13 as he has Corey Von Delga. David Payton is also in this group, and then you also see Damon Scott. Damon Scott's now had the best 2011 year so far, and looks like things are going to go pretty well for Scott. Meanwhile, you see Corey Von Delga in the 23 will go for the race lead, and looks like he already took the race lead, as here comes Sean McDowell, and he had help from Keith Hales, who won the dual race. So 2 of the dual winners are actually side by side as they're going to head down the back straightaway. And looks like the 20 5 wide, not gonna work. Well, now it's gonna work because Corey Von Delga smacks the wall off of turn 3. Jared Lancel's on the apron. As you see, Jared Webler successfully takes the lead. As remember, Webler was a contender in the Thunder Shield, but got past with 2 laps to go. So I think that's a bound of a recovery for the 17 of Jared Webler, as he is going to get to the lead. Damon Scott in the 18 is going to get to second, and if he can get if his car's ability can do so, he could go for the lead. However, Webler has pulled out to a decent comfort. Mark Mongillo is going to help Damon Scott to get to the ground he needs, and looks like Scott gets that draft help that he got from the 56 of Mongillo will help Damon Scott take the lead from Jared Webler, as they're going to now cross the line and complete, I believe, 28 laps, or if I'm wrong about that. But meanwhile, I believe that we have already passed that, but oh well. Meanwhile, the 17 of Jared Webler is going to go for is actually stuck on the outside and hoping that Mongillo would back off completely, so he would have another chance to have a chance to retake the lead. However, he slides way high, which that's been common, which that middle line has been causing people to get loose all the time, and this is what closes the pack back in. As there you see, that's Greg Water. He goes from the outside to the inside, right there. As meanwhile, the pack is all stuck together. Damon Scott's still holding on for the lead. There is Shane Clark to third. He's gonna go and try to take second and near contact, but both of them back away before something big would have happened. But meanwhile, the 18 of Damon Scott is still your race leader, and we would run the rest of the green flag period until about, well, maybe we're gonna have green flag pit stops were put into the equation as this pack continues to still war on. As Damon Scott, he will lead another lap, as Mark Mongillo in the 56 is still racing with the leaders. Strategy would come into play. This is on lap 62. Shane Clark III is the only car out of the lead group to pit in this time. And this would actually be beneficial later towards the end of the stops, because I'm going to show you why. Not only Clark did pit, but also Shane Bliss and Brian Wilson also pitted as well. You're going to see them. There is Shane Bliss entering the pits and Brian Wilson. Both of them had terrible days because both of them were due to crash damage. And then here is more cars that are entering the pits. This is the leaders on lap 63. Shane Clark III pitted on lap 62. And whoa, you see Cameron Brooks apparently pushing the 99 of Damon Scott. There is also the another group of cars coming in. Those cars fell off the draft due to lap car issues. And then here's the rest of the leaders that are coming in. This is on lap 65. However, you gotta learn, when you're pitting and you're putting into strategy events, you gotta know when the tank. You gotta know when to pit. And as an example, this is a reason on why trying to gamble one lap is probably not the best idea. This is on Walter Green's perspective. Coming into turn 1, the tank will run short. So Walter Green decided not to pit, and that was when the first group of cars came in. Apparently he didn't realize that he didn't have enough fuel to make it another lap. However, Walter Green will make it back, and this would kill his chances of a victory. And at the end of this cycle, he would fall to 23rd. Meanwhile, these are the 3 race leaders. As you see, they get in the lap traffic right there by Shane Howard and Brian Wilson. These are the 3 leaders, excluding Mark Mongillo. Mark Mongillo is 2 laps down. Carson Brooks is your race leader. Corey Von Duggan is in second, and Shane Clark III is in third. The battle for 4th is between James Wilson Jr., Sean McDowell, and David Payton, but we're going to cover that battle later. Meanwhile, the 75 of Carson Brooks is starting to get a good gap over Corey Von Duggan and Shane Clark III. And speaking of the battle for 4th, here is how this battle is going on. James Wilson Jr., Sean McDowell, and David Payton. McDowell and Wilson had pretty good 2011 seasons, while Payton was running towards midfield. Both the 11 and 07 finished in the McDowell and Wilson finished in the top 10. Payton finished, I believe, in 15th in the points. And this is a pretty good battle because you see the 11 has help in the 07. However, Payton has the preferred line in the turns. So this is a really interesting battle, to say for the least. Meanwhile, the caution come out for debris on lap 71. I see they just lap Ryan Pearson as they try to get back in line to get to the restart. Meanwhile, Carson Brooks and the running order would pretty much be the same. Carson Brooks was your race leader. Corey Von Duggan second, and then third was Shane Clark III. Fourth, David Payton. Fifth, Sean McDowell. And sixth was James Wilson Jr. Lap cars were a factor as all the leaders had to start on the outside on the leader of the lap cars, and Mark Mongillo actually had an advantage, so Mark Mongillo was still running towards the front. Here is how much the lap cars were affecting them. That car was, I believe, Shane Howard. I'm blocking up the... Oh, he almost put somebody in the wall. I couldn't tell who that was. As you see, there is, I think that is Jake Kierland, if I'm mistaken. He is off the pace. Gordon, I think that is, Luke Warren coming up behind him. Brian Dawson, and then, whoa, Cody White in the 22 makes a risky move on the outside. However, most of the pack is like stuck behind, I believe it is Walter Youthen, or Kyra Youthen, excuse me. But you see that the rest of the leaders have already broke away from the lap cars. There you see, there's Corey Von Duggan, Mark Mongillo, Shane Clark third, and David Payton. I'll go 4 wide. 4 wide for second, but so 4 wide for second, as looks like the 98 of Shane Clark III will get the upper hand as of that lap. But however, Von Duggan and Clark would still be battling it out for the position. Meanwhile, we're gonna fast forward to where all the cars have already caught up. Shane Clark III, the 88, Alan Kimmel, Jared Lansell, Eddie Johns. Some of these cars that were involved in accidents early in this race have already recovered. Jared Lanzo was one of those drivers. Eddie Johns was involved in that lap, where that crash where Michael Scott was crashed out. Mike Hamlin's in this group as well. He was involved in that first caution. So all these drivers that were involved in crashes, they have already recovered. Meanwhile, you see Greg Wooder go for the lead in the 40 car, and Daniel Salmon's going to go for the lead. And what in the world is Jared Weber doing? They're going to make the cars go 5 wide, and they're crashing. And all the cars are crashing towards the back. Greg Wooder, Jared Lanzo, Shea Clark III, Harvov, Corey Von Delga, Cody White smacks into somebody hard. I think that was Jared Lanzo. We'll have to see. This is from his perspective. Looks like the 99 pushes the 40 up. The 40 spins. Alan Kimmel gets collected. Shea Clark III. Eddie Johns barely makes it through. Carson Brooks does not. And then Lanzo gets hit hard by the 22 of Cody White. So what would have been a top 20 finish for Jared Lanzo ends in a disaster. Here's from Cody White. He thought he was clear, but just had no room. He tried to react, but it was too late. From what I can say on that, I can't say it was for foul racing, whatever, but that was just a racing incident. Jared Weber in the 17 would lead on this restart with Walter Green in second, Ike Chase Jr. third, and Damon Scott fourth, and David Payton in fifth. As Payton actually bounces into the wall for no reason, which I'm still doubting on why he bounced into the wall. As you see, Mark Mangillo, most of the lap cars are still affecting this pack. However, in this drag race of the final 12 laps, I believe we're not going to hit on any other lap cars before the end of this race, unless if they are running extremely slow. However, the car that was going at the lowest speed was like 205, and hopefully that won't be a problem, as these cars go about 225 miles an hour. Meanwhile, Damon Scott in the 18 is your race leader, while David Payton is coming to the inside. I actually made a mistake. Jared Weber's your race leader, while David Payton is coming to the inside. He has help from Brian Dawson. Brian Dawson dishes the number 24 of David Payton, and looks like the battle for, most likely the pack will battle it out for second, unless they can catch Weber, which that similar situation happened in the Thunder Shootout. However, Shane Harden caught Jared Weber before the end of that race, and that led to a one-lap shootout. However, David Payton realizes he needs to go, and he goes, and he will pretty much make the move on this number 17. Payton will go to the inside. Remember, he was the 2008 season opening event winner. That was when they were at Daytona. And now Payton drives it takes a hard left. He will get to the 17's inside, and looks like he will take the lead. And however, that would not actually be the winning move. This would actually be the race-winning. This would actually be possibly the game-changing move. This is from Eddie Johns, and this is pretty much and you're probably going to see later why this is the game-changing move. Eddie Johns gets pretty much no help on the inside, and he's going to just power by the 24 David Payton and get to the lead, as the number 24 tries to get there. Eddie Johns has no help, but Mark Mangillo shuts the door on Damon Scott, on Daniel Salomon, and he will help his teammate get to the lead. So that is teamwork at your finest. Remember, Mobile One Racing got busted for team. Before I said, Mobile One Racing was trying to get teamwork into play at Homestead. However, they got busted for doing that. Eddie Johns, while trying to hold on the outside, he's about to lose the lead, but however, gets a surge on the outside. He gets a really good surge on the outside, and this will help the 55 hang on to the lead. As we're going to fast forward it with coming up, we're going to fast forward to the final 2 laps. Here we go. This is the final 2 laps. Can someone dethrone Eddie Johns, or will Eddie Johns run and win his second season opening event? His last one coming in 2004. So coming out around the corner, there's Jared Weber in the 17. He has help. He looks like he may get pushed into the lead. And what I meant by the final 2 laps, I actually said it wrong. I meant the final 3. As Gerald Weber tries to get there, but Keith Hales gets a run. Gets pushed out by the 24 of David Payton. And looks like Eddie Johns, looks like it will just be 2 laps before they will have to dethrone John. Or will it? As they are starting to get 4 wide, they're starting to get really aggressive, but that's only for second. McDowell gets a good run. A really good run towards the inside. Now he's going to try to hope to use that run to help dethrone the 55 of Eddie Johns. And hopes to get there. Crash behind him! Will that throw the yellow out? And apparently the yellow lights are out, so it's all bets off now. Nobody cannot get that run. And Eddie Johns will appear to take the yellow and whites together. And Eddie Johns, unless if he runs out of fuel, will win the Dentsville 250. As here they come, coming at a blistering 90 miles an hour. Eddie Johns wins the Dentsville 250. David Payton second, Sean McDowell third, Blake Battaglia 4th, and Keith Hales in the 27 rounds out your top 5. And now now we're gonna take replays on what ended this race. Apparently Jared Webler bounces off into the wall, gets thrown by Michael, and he goes for a series of barrel rolls up into the fence. And the 17 goes wild rides down the track, and he rolls it back on all 4s. Let's take another angle from it. Jared Wilbur gets in the wall, gets thrown by Mongello, and the 17 starts gets a series of barrel rolls. Webler was a race contender. However, as a result of this crash, he will unofficially finish 28th, as he could have finished 9th. The lowest he could have finished was at least 12th position. However, Damon Scott will get the 11th position, and 12th, well, I don't know. There you see Gerald Webler flipping.